Drill instructors, drill sergeants of Reddit. What's the funniest thing you've seen a recruit do that you couldn't laugh at? At the Quell Range on Benning, March 2009. Cycle is almost over, and we're all pumped to move into Osset 8. I was behind the firing line with the rest of the jackasses eating chow. I had a DS that was built like Tyron Woodley, with scars all over his face and neck. Told us he was in Operation Anaconda as a private, and did multiple tours in Iraq. He had a voice like a bulldog swallowed gravel, was always angry, and was built like a Greek god. A truly magnificent specimen. Anyway, at the beginning of basic he once said that the gravest sin we could ever make was to fart in his presence. So I'm sitting there Indian style behind the firing line, unapologetically face freaking a bag of chili mac, when all of a sudden, I let a silent one squeak out, except that I was still wearing earpro, and it was more like the horn of Gonda calling for aid. This dude snaps his head around like he heard me open up a bag of tropical flavor Skittles, also prohibited, and just points at me, like a giant, black, techno Viking. This guy heard my thunderous butt queef through his own earpro, while on the firing line, which is super impressive on multiple levels BTW. What did I do? The only logical thing of course. I started making raspberry sounds with a mouthful of chili mac, like I was B-Rabbit, beatboxing for the underground championship. Pathetic. He put me in the front leaning rest for the entire time we were out there, while he was coaching. My non-integrity having butt was laying flat on my gut. When I even had a hunch that he was going to turn around, I'd stick my butt in the air in the proper modified resting position. He'd point to the ground, I'd bang out like 5 or 6, and when he turned back around, I'd lay flat again. Loopholes, my friends. Freaking loopholes. 3 hours later when everyone quelled, except me of course, he told me to recover and calmly said don't ever crap in my mouth again. With it, again, I was like 100 meters behind the firing line, but okay I guess. Trackin', DSL. Boot camp, MCRD San Diego, had a kid with glasses, very young, did not look like marine material. He kept glancing up at airplanes overhead during drill. DI noticed and asked him what he was looking at. Kid replies airplanes drill instructor. DI says, those planes are trying to invade, and only you can stop them. I want to hear you war cry at every plane until it leaves this depot. Remainder of phase I of boot camp consisted of this kid screaming at every plane overhead. Hilarity ensued. Yes, Marine recruits call DI's story sounded better the way I wrote it I thought. Yes, the kid in glasses became a Marine. Never saw him again because I went off to Soy West and God knows where he went. Infantry Benning 2005 had a guy in my platoon that wrote a letter home saying he got shot in the Iber. His mom was a 1SG. Funny enough. However, drill sergeant intercepted the letter and read it to everyone. Then, another guy in the PLT was a great lyricist. He free-versed Who's That Man in the Pink Beret. He got shot in the Iber. Drill overheard that and it became our new marching cadence. We also had a drill sergeant get fired for hitting a private's privates and causing him to urinate blood. He would always go around with the PLT's guidon and hit the guys in the nuts. He never did it to his own PLT though. Honestly, he was one of my favorite drill sergeants. I wasn't the DS but the trainee. I was in the shower and I heard someone yell my name. I thought it was one of the guys in my platoon so I responded what? Can I get 5 frickin' minutes of peace? Next thing I heard was the unmistakable voice of one of our DS shouting what the frick did you just say and the sound of boots stomping towards me. I begin apologizing as fast as possible, standing butt naked at parade rest. He said if I ever raised my voice again he'd be back naked next time for some Vietnam village raid action aka assaulting my anus. He then told me I had a letter and to come grab it from his office and walked off. Not in boot camp but in a school setting in the military. In formation one morning, I heard a slap and a guy killed a fly or a mosquito or something. The instructor started screaming that corpsmen do not kill unless defending themselves, their marines or patients. He had just killed an unarmed friendly and will give it a proper burial. So he made us all dig a human-sized grave while the sailor that killed the fly stood there watching with dead fly in hand. We gave it a funeral and everything without honors, and had to fill in the hole. We kinda hated that guy for a while. Unarmed friendly. Frick that. If it was a mosquito, it was armed and presumed hostile. When I went through Air Force Basic, we each had water canteens that we brought everywhere we went. I mean, it was San Antonio around August-September. We were in a class 1 day and protocol has you keep your canteen by your feet and not on the table. We got up for lunch and so like you're supposed to, everyone brings their canteens. We eat lunch and then come straight back. We were about to get started again when somebody left their canteen on their desk. Fairly calmly the MTI, military training instructor, reminded him to put his canteen by his feet. Then he says, actually, I want you to leave your canteen on your desk. I want everyone to put your canteen on your desk. Everyone does so, and we're all waiting. Then he says, trainee, why isn't your canteen on your desk? This other trainee shuffles around in his chair a bit and replies, sir. Trainee snuffles reports as ordered. I left it here before we went to lunch and now it's missing. MTI cutting him a bit short says, yes I know. I have it right here. Pulling out a canteen. Do you know what this represents? Trainee, this holds water. Water brings life. You're saying you forgot your source of life? Yes sir. Little info note here. Every trainee keeps these little pieces of paper called 341s and they are taken by MTIs for either good behavior or fuck ups. Usually fuck ups, haha. Enough fuck ups could result in you getting recycled into a previous week of training with an entirely new flight of people. Alright then trainee, I want you to come down and get your canteen. I'm curious. Have you ever seen Indiana Jones? Yes sir. You remember how he gets the treasure? He swaps it with another object, doesn't he? Yes sir. Not just any object though. Usually it's of relatively the same weight, right? How many 341s do you think it would take to equal the weight of this here canteen? He briefly shakes it around revealing quite a bit of water is still in it. Maybe 5 or 6 he said, not sure of how this was going to go down. 5 or 6? Are you sure this went on for a bit and then he agreed upon like 3? Alright, come down here and show me how Mr. Jones does it in the movies. His butter is to the front. Everyone else is thinking, this is the kind of crap we've been waiting for. He does his thing but he doesn't do it quick enough, so he took an extra 341. Funniest crap I ever saw in basic. Absolute madman of an MTI. Never saw him again after that class, but holy crap was he a legend. Several years ago I had a soldier who was taking food back to our barracks. Fellow platoon drill sergeant found it and told me about it. Called the entire platoon downstairs, formed them up, and inquire to the entire formation about this red DFAC apple in my hand. Soldier confessed immediately. Asked him why. He replies with, I was hungry drill sergeant. I follow with, okay private. I'm going to make sure you don't go to bed hungry. Eat this apple. Bring him to the front. Give him the apple. Then turn around to address the platoon. Commence to dusting the shit out of this platoon. I mean, I'm trying to break their body down as quick as possible. Inform him they will keep going as he slowly takes his first bit. By now I'm excited. Take your time. Only a few moments later. Drill sergeant, I'm done. I ask where the core is. I ate it drill sergeant. By now I'm in disbelief. And search in throwing distance for this core. Nothing. I ask him why he ate the core. Because you told me to eat the apple drill sergeant. This terrified man ate the entire freaking apple. I mean that green leafy crap. Stem. That crunchy crap for the seeds. And the seeds. I stopped everything and told everyone to disappear immediately. I couldn't believe it. Nor have I ever seen anything like it before or after. I have a ton of stories but this one always brings tons of laughter. Also oxygen tends to reach and grab soldiers' feet as they run. Literally trip from the oxygen snatching them. One dude forgot his shower shoes in med hold. So instead of going back downstairs shower was broken so we had to go upstairs to an unused dorm. He's advised by a fellow trainee to wear his socks to the latrine, take them off, shower, and put them back on to minimize his contact with that disgusting shower floor. As the dorm was unused, it wasn't cleaned regularly. This guy was kind of slow, so he wore his knee-high white as snow socks into the shower. It's not nearly as funny without seeing those beacons of light in a sea of naked dudes trying to shower as fast as possible, now that I'm actually writing it out. In Navy boot camp, We were in school circle in the birthing and our second RDC was teaching us a PowerPoint of some sort. We all had our recruit manuals and pens writing down notes for our test in a few days. One of my buddies was very fidgety, and sitting cross-legged for long periods of time he would often start to fidget and wiggle around like a worm. He was specially frisky today, so I whispered to him, "Chill man, click your pen a few times to help your fidget." He starts clicking, and I mean clicking. Click, 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 click. Our RDC started to twitch after every click until she lost it and beelined to my row with my buddy next to me. He's still clicking away reading his book, and our RDC Lions roared his name and he stood up so fast it was like he sat on hot nail. She made him do push-ups and mountain climbers for 30 minutes. Then after he was tired she made him stand up in the back of the birthing and gave him 2 pens, one in each hand, and told him to hold his arms out to the side like a T and keep clicking until she gets finished the lesson. Fast forward 1.5 hours and he's still clicking. She forgot about him, and our third RDC, somewhat nice, saw him when she walked in, stared at him, blinked a few times and turned around and giggled. Our second RDC came back in PT uniform and told him to stop. We heard her and third RDC laughing in the fishbowl. So, not a DS, but this is from my time in basic. Also this is gonna be long. My battle buddy got caught getting a BJ from a female in our platoon. The DS didn't interrupt. He just walked out of the laundry room where they decided to do the deed. He did wait outside for my BB and the other soldier to leave the laundry room. All he did was tell my BB to come get me so we could have a chat with the first sergeant. We go into first sergeant's office, and our DS just starts laying into the guy. A few minutes the DS pauses, sticks his nose against my BB's, looks him in the eye, and in this low, menacing voice asks, "Where did you nut, Private?" It took every ounce of willpower I had to not double over with laughter. BB was gobsmacked. He started stuttering and just couldn't get a full word out. Then, after being silent the entire time, our first sergeant hauls butt across the room and yells, "You freaking heard him, you hard-cocked freaking waste of a good mouth. Where did you freaking nut?" BB starts crying. Between sobs he blurts out, "I in her mouth." DS, I lost it. DS lost it. FS lost it. Good times all around. TLDR. Fellow private got caught getting head while in BCT. Drill sergeant and first sergeant yelled, "Where did you nut?" and my BB started crying. During a field exercise some of my squad mates decided it was better to take a crap in the woods at night near the male sleeping tents instead of using the latrines that was farther away. They had a pretty good system in place by picking out a designated spot and making sure they buried it in dirt when finished. Unfortunately one of the guys forgot to bury his, so the drill instructors found out about it and unburied an entire pile of crap. For the next several weeks the drill sergeant would periodically yell, "Where are my crap birds at?" and wherever they were the crew was forced to sing the Gwen Stefani line, "This crap is bananas, beer in her annas," while walking forward doing squats or some bulls. We could just be sitting there doing some drill or eating lunch or whatever when the drill sergeant called it out randomly and they'd have to do it. It was hilarious when you'd hear the singing from like 3-4 dudes coming from disparate parts around you, either near or far away. When I went through basic during red phase they had a strict 3 latrine break deal where you could only use the latrines for like 5 minutes before having to get back in formation. It was usually after eating chow, and when you're running around in the summer heat, you drink a lot of water to stay hydrated. Well, like the 4th day in, we had a classroom day where this kid really had to pee, like doing the pissy pants dance for like an hour before he stood up mid-class and said, "Drill sergeant, I really need to use the latrine." And this DS was a hardcore mother. Infantry drill sergeant, combat infantryman's badge, 101st Airborne deployment patch, and the DS just said, "Sit the frick down, Private." 10 minutes go by, and this kid is getting worse, like red in the face, sweating a bit. He stands up again, this time louder, "Drill sergeant, it's an emergency." DS, interrupt my class again, and I will smoke the dog pee out of you. Sit down. Finally this kid sits down, and after like 2 minutes he pulls this little Ziploc bag you get for sensitive items, like a protractor, hand sanitizer, stuff that you're always supposed to have on you for inspection, and dumps it all on the table, unbuttons his pants, and pisses in the bag sitting down, fills the whole bag, ziplocks it up, and sets it on the table in front of him. The drill sergeant stopped teaching and stared in awe at this kid. I thought for sure he was going to get fricked up, but he just said calmly, "DS, Private, did you just pee in that bag?" PVT, yes, drill sergeant. DS, so you're telling me you had your dong out in my classroom? PVT, no, drill sergeant. DS, then how did you pee in that bag if you did not pull your dong out of your pants? PVT, very carefully, drill sergeant. The DS smirked just a little, just a crack. Never saw him smile ever again, but he just said, "Go throw your bag of pee away, Private," and the kid sprinted out of the class with a bag of his own pee. I imagine it was probably pretty hard for the DS to maintain his composure. Dated a drill instructor. I was a high school girls wrestling coach and my big girl job was orchestrating grounded troops. Blah blah. He and I got way too in the habit of screaming ridiculous things out of the blue, seeing as he was trained to, in the car, silently driving for hours. Crap B, I love you. Pull over so a man can use the tinkletarium, hilarious guy, but I'd never seen him at work. One time he specifically requested I visit him during drills. I didn't know this was legal or if he was serious, so I stayed invisible until he called me out by name. His problem was internal bickering and drama with his guys. He'd lamented at me about this for weeks. He addressed them, introduced me, and I was feeling lost as heck. "This here is Wendy, not my name. Since you're all acting like lost boys, Wendy here is going to tell you how to behave, and we respect women. Isn't that right?" "Yes, sir." "Wendy here is a mama to a bunch of teenage girls." "What? Do? Teenage? Girls? Do oh from formation. Whine, sir. Make noise all the time, sir. Gossip, sir. Cry over boys, sir. Play with makeup, sir. Get PMS, sir, etc. And that's what all y'all have been doing. Acting like little girls. Wendy is going to be our inspiration today, our spiritual guide. You will address Wendy as sir. Yes, Wendy, sir. You will love Wendy like your very own mother. We love you, Wendy, sir. So, I can be cruel and clever and all of that, but this was about momming and shame. I was out of my depth, but here we go. I told them during drills they were not allowed to leave formation or rest until each of them had brought up a legitimate qualm with another private and talked it out. Full volume. Then they got to buddy that person and tell them something vulnerable about themselves until they had something in common. At the end they would call the private by name and tell everyone something they appreciated about them. My dude was facing away with his eyes closed, vibrating with laughter. I thought he was going to choke to death. Best day ever. And a handful of legit friendships were made that day. Not a drill sergeant, but some private in my platoon, who we'll call CF. And that's another story in of itself. Somehow got the bright idea of eating everyone's MRE gum. Well, I think it's a laxative. Always cleared me up. He then started bragging about how big his crap was. I saw it. Pretty impressive. And someone got the idea of putting bets on how big it was. CF got some rubber gloves, put on his pro mask, and pick up the crap and measure it. A 13-inch crap. And he made $175 off it. Next morning, before PT, word made it to our company first sergeant. He pitched an absolute B-fit and tacked on some extra duty. In our bay, our drill sergeant joked and laughed with us about it. Man, I miss the army. There was some total balls things that happened, but the brotherhood is what I miss the most. While in boot camp during Ash Wednesday, recruits who wanted to go to church were allowed. This left about half of the recruits in the barracks. The only drill instructor with us at the time was our kill hat, evil drill instructor. He made us sit on our foot locker and read knowledge. We did this for about 15 minutes until someone laughed about something. Our drill instructor heard this and came charging out and started smoking everyone. We were all on the PT deck getting killed. All of a sudden he asks for the 4 strongest recruits and tells them to go to the front. He then summons our scribe, who is maybe 100 pounds soaking wet. He screams at us to continue our mountain climbers and he disappears with the selected recruits. About 5 minutes later we hear the sound of beating drums. Our drill instructor is using the trash can to set the beat. Out comes the strongest recruits carrying a makeshift Xerxes style altar. The recruits are only wearing their skivvy shorts. while carrying the scribe who is on all fours with an apple in his mouth screaming like a pig on top of the platform. He screams, "This is your new god." Our scribe begins squealing like a pig again, this time with more ferocity. This caused our kill hat to run away in laughter. The frick. I've heard of some weird butt crap, but holy frick. When I was in basic we had this one guy who laughed at something our MTI said. MTI stands him and says, "You wanna laugh? Then laugh." Guy starts and then finally settles down, but MTI says to keeping laughing. So this kid is standing in the middle of the room laughing with the saddest face I've ever seen. We all think this is hilarious, but someone actually starts laughing out loud. MTI has him stand next to the first and tells him to laugh like Bozo the Clown. Another laughs and he gets told to laugh like the Joker. For maybe 10 minutes I'm watching 3 guys go ha he, ha ha ha, and hoo and I have no idea how I held it together. Not a drill sergeant, but when I was going through basic at Fort Leonard Wood, my dad told me when we do the CS gas room, volunteer to go first just to get it over with, as he went through it when he was my age as well. So I do, and once I get through, the most intimidating drill sergeant said, "Soldier, get over here." He waved me towards the window on the side of the building. We looked into the room and my platoon guide was this stuck-up rich white chick that had told us previously that her parents bought her a brand new car and was mad at the color, so she's going to demand they buy her another. She took her mask off, puked, turned to her right, then puked on the guy in front of her. I laughed. My drill sergeant laughed. I laughed while doing push-ups for laughing. It was a good time. We were pulling a 50/50 fire guard one night because somebody on shift fricked up. Half of the platoon has to stay up for 3-4 hours. Then the other half takes over until wake up. I was on the first shift, and by the second or the third hour a good portion of us had retreated into the bathroom and were either sitting on the sinks gossiping or straight up sleeping beneath them. I remember I was crap talking with a few guys, when all of a sudden this kid walks into the bathroom wearing full battle rattle, body armor, helmet, eye protection, everything. He even had his canteen. Asked what the frick he was doing. The kid, bless his soul, replied, "I'm cold." I was in Navy boot camp, and one of our RDCs was giving some kind of instruction order to the 4 girls who did the in-house laundry in the laundry room. He finished speaking, and you hear the following: "Yes, petty officer. Yes, petty officer. Yes, petty officer. Okey dokey." Everyone froze, stared at the door, where we could see P.O. Cobble just standing there, looking like a vein was about to burst in his neck. We thought he was going to explode with rage. Instead, he clenched his jaw, turned on his heel and walked out faster than I had ever seen someone move in my life. He managed to get into the private office before he completely broke up in hysterical laughter. We could just barely hear it through the walls. The one who said it was affectionate nicknamed Lightbulb Head, and just about all my favorite stories involve her in some way. Doesn't quite fit the question, but damn it, basic stories are funny. Standing in line outside waiting to get haircuts about 2/3 through boot. Standing around like rows of retarded ducks. This one guy who had just gotten off of bed rest due to pneumonia or black pag or whatever. You know the type, you could see his cheekbones, sunken eyes, all the Halloween prettiness. He had to pee, so he broke formation and walks up to where the 2 DIs were standing, talking. One DI takes one looks at him as he comes to attention and yells at him in her best DI voice, "The heck do you want? Trainee skeletor." Was worth pushing earth just to watch my DI break control and have to hide behind his hat before he could stop from laughing. The rest of us were dying as we bench pressed the ground. Never was a drill sergeant, but when I was going through US Army Infantry School, 2004, we were taking showers when one of the drills came in and called us to toe the line. When I got out of the shower I found someone had stolen my PT uniform and towel. So I grabbed my shaving cream and covered my dong in cream, then walked out to my bunk. The drill came up to me asking what the frick I thought I was doing. I told him my clothes and towel were gone, so I did the next best thing. He said, "You know what? You're going to do alright in the infantry. Modern problems require modern solutions." If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.